What's up, everyone? Coach Elise and Josh here from ThinkFet. We are back with series number 4 in regards to sharing our learnings and insights from our current studies with PH360 regarding epigenetics. So today we're going to go into a little bit deeper of understanding your body's unique blueprint, a part of that being anthropometry, health types, and you. So I guess for yourself, like, have you ever considered why we come in all different shapes and sizes and how our physical form is connected to our health? Well, today we're going to deep dive into that, and Josh is going to kick us off.
For sure. And we might say it wrong, but anthropometry is the main study we're looking at today, which essentially it's the measurement of parts of your bodies to better understand how it impacts your health. And as we learned in the previous episodes, like your phenotype is, your genes responding to the world around you. And this is what the science of anthropometry kind of teaches us. So in the past, it was used to like measure things like waist circumference, which we know is like a health indicator that people use to determine people that have certain diseases or at higher risk of certain diseases. But then we also need to look at, it maybe not tell the whole story. So at least you're able to tell us about some of the relative measurements that we take to better understand our health in relation to our body.
Yeah, cool. So I guess if you consider everyone being all different shapes and sizes, if we just take into consideration just one measurement for everyone, it's not a one size fits all. So if you think of someone who is more of an endomorph, they're a bit more of a larger frame, a larger build. So their measurements are obviously going to be a little bit larger than someone who is a smaller frame. So if you're then comparing the pair and you come up with a higher circumference opposed to the other one, well, it might not be that they're at risk because of their frame. Comparing to someone of an ectomorph, if they, might be a smaller frame and everything also is in proportion, but their waist circumference is a bit bigger, then they might, for their health type and their frame of body, they're at a bigger risk because of the portion of their measurements.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how anthropometry really helps with that. And what we've come to realize through science and study is understanding how hormones really impact the growth of certain parts of the body. For instance, we know that activators, which are those more mesodermic people who have higher testosterone, tends to have shorter femurs. So that's why they are actually shorter in length. But then we have those that are like diplomats, which are the health types we'll talk about in the future. They're a bit of a cross between an endomorph and an ectomorph, and they actually have a bit more height because their body's more susceptible to, interacting with insulin growth factor and things that really influence the size of the body. There's other things that come into account with that. So knowing that people that are generally taller have higher risks of things like cancer makes it a really interesting study. So what they tried to do with some of this study is put people's body shapes into somatypes. What somatypes are is like the older study was like not as successful because they weren't necessarily looking at the musculoskeletal structure. They were just looking at how the body actually looks. So they thought there was like 180 different body types. But when the scientists that are working with Shea and the health types and epigenetics really dug into it, they were able to dictate that, hey, if we go mainly off skeletal structure and yes, some of the other muscular structures and things like that, then we can really, be a bit more clear about who we're talking about. And that's where the health types came into be. So Elise, can you tell us a little bit about Shea and how that's, helps people understand their health type and morphology?
Yes, sweet. So, because the science is so complex, with us utilizing Shea, it then takes into consideration all these complex data points based on research and based on health types. And that helps us allow us to bring it down and digest the information to be able to give you the best advice for your health type moving forward. Kind of if you refer back to Josh's post, whether you've seen that the other day about a GPS, it just gives us a clearer vision on, what is needed for you to map out your journey to get you to that direction with what's required to get there. So, yeah, that's a little bit about that.
Yeah, awesome. So, like Lee said, we're leveraging Shea, which is an AI-backed or leveraged system, which helps us digest the information and makes it a lot clearer. Because if you can imagine, we said there's 15 different sciences, so that's a lot of history and a lot of comparison. And as we said, the whole blueprint, your DNA versus your phenotype, which is what you are right now. We need to make sure we have a system that can compare the two and give us the quickest path to where we want to be. with taking that into consideration, Shay is able to use the assessments to make sure it gives us the most direct understanding of what's happening. And it's also pretty incredible. Like we know that we're all unique, right? We know that certain people definitely have traits from other areas. And because Shay's able to, leverage the information inside, it's able to see how the hormone has responded to the environment. And then that has led someone to maybe have traits of someone else. So further into the studies, we'll get to realize like, yes, we have this circle. Yes, there's 6 health types. But if you're a bit closer to the other one, you may have traits from the other one. You may have traits from the other side as well, but you're less likely to have those traits. But we might find it in your profile, in your personality and behaviors sheet, right? So what Shay does is really just helps us moving forward, give people a clearer picture, more digestible, and work as a tool between us to effectively coach people so they can become aligned with their biology. Now, that's about it for today's episode. If you want to learn more about the hormones, how that impacts who you are as a person, and, see how it drives who you are and your motivations and all those sorts of things, I'd tell you, jump on board, like reach out to us. We'd love to help you. We'd love to go on this journey together, learn about it. It's just getting more exciting as we learn about it. Is there anything else you want to add, Elise?
Absolutely. If you're enjoying this, please let us know so we can keep it up. We're going to keep coming back. Again, it's ingraining the learning into our brains and hopefully sharing some interesting facts with you guys. So please like, share, follow, and invite anyone else that would be interested in this content as we go along with our series of learning. But thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you at the next episode.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Hey guys, don't go anywhere yet. Josh and I just stopped filming and thought, hey, we have a little bit of bonus tidbits for you around hormones. So we're just going to have a little bit of a chat to you around endocrinology and health types and talk about the importance of endocrine glands and the influence it has on hormones, on your thoughts, your actions, and your behaviors. So basically, Josh will go into a little bit about hormone imbalances and what that has on each different health type. So Josh, talk to us about some various hormones and how that's seen in different health types. So I guess we can start with oxytocin.
Yeah, sweet. So as Elise said, like it's not so much an imbalance, but when you are a certain health type, you're more responsive to that type of hormone. So it's just the way your genes respond to the environment, and it's kind of how they thrive in most circumstances, or the other way as well, So it can cause issues if you have too much or not enough. And those are different for certain individuals, and depending where they sit around the health type circles. So we'll share some of the images just to give you an indication. But if we look at endocrinology, which is the study of the hormones, it's really important to understand that yes, there's positives. Like people mostly talk about like why the chemical is the way it is, but it's also responsible for responses in the body and certain other things that can happen if you get too much or not enough. So the first one Elise mentioned is oxytocin, and it's one of the important chemicals for social recognition, and this is responsible at the top of the circle more for our connector-based people. So people who are slightly mesodermic and endodermic, their main hormone that they'll thrive off is oxytocin, and it can help like restore or increase those levels simply through human touch, right? So there's some cool stories we'll share later where these type of people, when they have that recognition, their life is just significantly improved. And at least the next one.
Next one we've got is dopamine.
Yeah, sweet. So dopamine, this is the one for my health type. So I am a crusader, as we get to those later. Basically, we run off the feel good, the trying, achieving, the constantly moving forward towards a goal. If anyone knows me, they can definitely say that is part of my nature. And it's just really crazy to see how that dopamine helps people. So one of the cool things to learn about dopamine is like if you're learn to say, focus on the process rather than the actual goal, when you get dopamine hits from doing the process, then you're able to sustain that level of consistency because you're getting that release from the stress through the dopamine. So that's one of the cool things about dopamine. And the next one, Elise.
Absolutely. A bit of a buzzword in the industry, serotonin.
Yeah, so serotonin, it's often the happy chemical, the one that most people will talk about when they're talking about antidepressants. And it's really important to understand that this actually comes from the gut. So these people that are most affected by that are the diplomats, and they're part part ectoderm and part endoderm type body types. And it's really really important to know that serotonin is mostly made in the gut. So if these people have an unhappy gut, it's probably going to reflect in their mind. And that's why it's really important to help these people get these things in order so that they can feel their best because their biology is in alignment with what they need. The next one, Elise.
Absolutely. We've got last one that we're going to talk about today, at least, is prolactin.
Yeah, cool. So prolactin, it's kind of like the nurturing chemical, the main one people talk about when mothers have kids. Yes, every health type has it, and that's what something we need to be reminded of. All these health types do have access to these hormones. It's just what they respond to best or what they need in order to keep things in control. And I guess to tie it all off, one of the important things to understand is if you are more inclined to have those hormones, as we said, if you get out of balance, you are more susceptible to certain types of diseases. And when you learn more about this, it's incredible to see how it plays out along that journey. I think it's incredibly empowering for us to know what we can look out for and what we should focus on when it comes to these future diseases, especially if you want to be like around to, support your family in the future and reduce your risk of these things happening. But that's about it for the hormones today, Elise, and we'll definitely dive more into it later.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching this tip, Nick. I hope you found it useful. Bye, guys.